Hi everyone, this is a video tutorial showing how to draw objects in three-point perspective. You want to start out by drawing a horizon line and then your two vanishing points on that horizon line, just the same as you do with two-point perspective. So three-point perspective actually starts out the same way as two-point perspective. You have a horizon line and two vanishing points on that horizon line. And we can even begin to draw in two-point perspective. So I can draw the side of an object by pulling two lines from the left-hand vanishing point and draw a vertical line down from that to connect those two lines on that side. And I can draw the right-hand side of the object too, as those edges are parallel and go to the right-hand vanishing point. I can also draw the top side of this object using lines from those two vanishing points. Now here is where it starts to move into three-point perspective, because in three-point perspective all of your edges will always go to a vanishing point. Okay, all of your parallel edges will go to a vanishing point. So normally in two-point perspective, what do we do to finish out the sides of this object? Well, we draw a vertical line here and a vertical line here, right? And then that finishes that box in two-point perspective. And those vertical edges are just straight up and down parallel to each other. Well, the difference between two-point and three-point is that these lines no longer remain straight up and down and parallel. Instead, I meant to just zoom out. Instead, those lines will go to a third vanishing point, okay? So I'm going to get rid of those lines, and now what I'm going to do is pull this vertical line straight down, and then I'm going to establish a vanishing point on that line, and then pull these edges to this third lower vanishing point. So instead of being straight up and down, as they are in two-point perspective, the vertical lines, the vertical edges of this object, go to a third vanishing point down below the horizon line. So the thing to always keep in mind when you're drawing in three-point perspective is that if you have parallel edges or straight edges, they will always go to one of your three vanishing points. You will never have lines that do not go to a vanishing point, that if those lines happen to be parallel to each other. Okay, so you have to think about what lines are parallel, and so let's think about that a little bit more when we draw another box in this same, using these same vanishing points. So if I'm going to draw a box to the right hand side of this box, and I'm going to make it taller than this box, I need to start out by drawing one edge. I'm going to draw the vertical edge of that box. Okay, so I have to pull a line from my lower vanishing point. Okay, and I'm going to make it taller, so I'm going to bring it up higher. Now the other side of that box will also be defined by another line coming from that third vanishing point, because these edges here, the verticals of this box, are edges that we know to be parallel to each other in reality. So if we were viewing these boxes not in perspective but just examining them individually, rotating them, holding them in our hand, or thinking about how they are constructed as boxes, then we know that these three edges here I've just highlighted, and this fourth edge here, those are all parallel edges. Those are all parallel lines in reality, and in perspective, therefore, they go to this third vanishing point. Okay? So parallel edges and lines recede to the same vanishing point. That's the golden rule of perspective. All parallel edges and lines will appear to meet at a vanishing point when you put them in perspective. Okay? So now I've established those two edges. There's another vertical that we can see on this box, and it's going to be the back edge here. And I'll just draw a line like this. Actually, I want to make that thinner, so I'm going to do it with 1 point. Okay, I'm going to extend these lines out a little longer so that you can see them a little better. Okay, so now how do we figure out where this box is cut off, where this edge, this left-hand side ends, where the top ends? Again, we have to think about what edges that edge is parallel to. So I think we can pretty much safely say that the top edge of our tall box is parallel to the top edge of our shorter box. So these edges here all go to this left-hand vanishing point. So we know that this top edge is also going to go to our left-hand vanishing point, like this. Okay? So you start to see how this construction happens. And now we just have this right-hand side top edge to establish. And we can think about how this top edge of the box is parallel to the bottom edge of the same box, right? So because this is a box, we know that this bottom edge is going to be this in line, parallel in reality to this top edge. So in perspective, it goes to the same vanishing point that this bottom edge goes to. And since we know the bottom edge goes to the right-hand vanishing point, then we can just say that the top edge also goes to the right-hand vanishing point, just like that. Okay? So establishing relationships like this is very helpful, especially when you start to get into more complicated constructions. Always, always, always your edges will go to a vanishing point if they're straight and parallel to each other. Just keep that golden rule in mind, and you should be able to construct things in three-point perspective. So I could add, for example, I could add a sidewalk here like this. I could add lines in that sidewalk by pulling lines from the vanishing point. Again, thinking about what edge those lines are parallel to, and we know that these lines in the sidewalk are parallel to this right-hand edge. So they're going to go to the right-hand vanishing point. I can add a window in this building. Again, always pulling lines from your three vanishing points. You never have a stray line unless it's a line that isn't parallel to anything. So all of those edges that I just drew come from these vanishing points. And this sidewalk here that I've just constructed, the lines of this sidewalk, come from the right-hand vanishing point because they are parallel to this right-hand edge. So in this way, it's fun, and a lot of people find that three-point perspective is the most enjoyable form of perspective because you can be really creative and inventive, and all you have to remember to do is make sure that you use three vanishing points. One more thing, as discussed in the lecture, you will find that you can have this third vanishing point either below the horizon line or above the horizon line. Keep in mind that if it's below the horizon line, this is giving you a bird's eye view. And if this the third vanishing point is above the horizon line, that would give you what is called a worm's eye view. Okay? So have fun experimenting, and please always let me know if you have any questions.